Is it possible that the German army would withdraw from Greenland just 44 hours after arriving? Is it possible that a country the size of Germany would send its soldiers to a certain area, then suddenly withdraw them quietly without any official explanation? What happened behind the scenes? What exactly is Germany hiding? Today, we're not talking about an ordinary withdrawal. We're talking about disagreements, about very big conflicts that are starting today within the heart of Europe. We're talking about a very serious political message sent directly to Trump and to America. The statement by German Chancellor Merz, which we will show you today, is not a slip of the tongue. It is an indirect announcement that Europe is no longer a priority for Germany, and that this country, Germany as well, is ready to abandon the European project entirely. And throwing themselves once again into the American embrace means we are witnessing a new transformation, something completely different. Does this mean that we are now facing the beginning of the collapse of NATO? Has Germany come to the conviction that France is truly leading Europe to the abyss today? Has Greenland become the first spark for a major upcoming war? Will it change the map of the European continent forever? We have very important details today. Stay with us. Dear viewers, peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings, and welcome to our renewed meeting today, God willing, in this episode of the Opinion series. The situation in Europe is becoming more tense and more severe, and as we always say, it is heading exactly toward a major war that will destroy Europe and will completely eliminate some countries in Europe. So the beginning of our topic today will start from these new developments happening in the Greenland file, because last week, dear viewers, we talked about Greenland. We discussed the force European countries sent to protect Greenland, though as I told you, it was never actually strong, because overall it was limited to about 30 or 40 military personnel, in addition, of course, to around 200 soldiers from the Danish forces. They are permanently stationed on this island, and as everyone knows, the island is the size of Saudi Arabia. So how can 200 or 250 or 240 or 230 soldiers protect this island? In general, among these forces sent by Europe, there were about 13 or 15 soldiers coming from Germany, from the German forces. But the strange thing that happened is that these German forces withdrew from Greenland less than 2 days after arriving on the island. This withdrawal was never something normal. This withdrawal revealed very big disagreements that have started to appear publicly today within these European countries. It exposed an internal crisis, even among those who, just a short time ago, were deciding the fate of nations and peoples and the fate of the leaders of these countries. The American newspaper Politico said that the disagreements between Germany and France are escalating significantly over a number of key issues, including the defense of Europe, the funding of Ukraine, and the trade agreement with the Mercosur countries, a number of issues. There was a very serious statement made by the German Chancellor Merz. What did he say? He said that if President Trump does not get along with Europe, he can at least make Germany his partner. This is a very serious statement. It's as if it's a message, as if he's sending a message to Trump and America that he's distancing himself from the Europeans, distancing himself from these European policies, and that he's ready to be a partner with America instead of being a partner with Europe. So here, of course, a very important question arises. What made Merz make this statement? Why did Merz pull his forces from Greenland at the same time? Can we say that Germany has reached a very important conclusion, that there is no point in confronting America? Can we say that Merz has finally reached the conclusion that France's plans will lead this European continent to the abyss? Today they say in Germany that France talks a lot about the need for Europe's independence, while it hasn't done anything for Europe's independence. They say that France always talks and presents itself as the main supporter of Ukraine, while it hasn't provided any real military aid to Ukraine. They say that France is selling military scrap to Ukraine, while their country, Germany, is the one paying. So in Germany, they might feel a kind of schadenfreude. Germany pays and supports, while France is the one that appears in the spotlight, always showing itself as the main supporter of Ukraine, as the leader of Europe, and so on. Today there is also a very big conflict between Germany and France about how to use the European Union loan set at 90 billion euros for the defense of Europe. It became clear to Germany that France wants to control these funds by selling more weapons to Ukraine, while sidelining German military factories. There are very big disagreements. There are disagreements over another 100 billion euros, specifically for the joint fighter jet manufacturing project between France and Germany, as the French companies also want to control these funds. Germany now perhaps feels that the European ship has started to sink, and now it wants to jump off before it's too late. The American newspaper Politico stated clearly that the separation between America and Europe has become inevitable. That's it. There's no room to talk about this anymore. This military alliance, NATO, will come to an end. Trump is absolutely determined to annex Greenland. He wants to reach an agreement with the Europeans. He doesn't want to annex Greenland by military force. Why? I explained that in previous episodes. To protect America's global reputation and what else. But in the end, if no agreement is reached, America will intervene militarily and then this alliance will come to an end. What do you think now? Europe? They say that a European NATO should be established. A new NATO without America, including only European countries. Because what's coming is very dangerous for Europe. This conflict will definitely lead to the collapse of NATO, and the collapse of NATO will leave Europe divided and weak. At that point, Russia will seize the opportunity to take control of a number of European countries, and this will be supported by China and by America, because America will take revenge on Europe and will encourage China to take this step. The Baltic states, for example, these countries will disappear in a very short time. The first thing Russia will do if NATO collapses is what? Is it to take revenge on these countries, to take control of the Baltic states? To connect the Russian region of Kaliningrad to the rest of Russian territory? At the same time, there will be another military move in the Arctic region, and this is what America fears today. Control over Greenland and over the island of Svalbard, which is Russian or Norwegian, and maybe even over Iceland. Maybe at that point Finland could also be a target. These countries are threatened. This is the first step Russia will take, as Europeans know very well that Russia will retaliate against all the European countries that turned against it and stood against Russia during this war with Ukraine. That's why they say there should be an alternative to NATO, but the question is, what would this alternative look like? How can this alternative be achieved? It's not easy to establish a new NATO-like alliance. It would take many years, and right now time is not on our side. Also, which countries could actually join this new alliance? Without America, it's settled. Without America, it's a done deal. The alliance would fail. Which countries would even be in this alliance? It would be a European alliance, but would all European countries join? Not at all. What are the strongest European militaries? Turkey won't join this alliance. Turkey is now thriving in the Middle East, steadily expanding its influence there. It has American support and is currently strengthening its relationship with the United States. It won't get involved in any foolishness with the Europeans. As long as Trump respects Turkey and lets it do what it wants in the Middle East, Turkey won't go against America's interests. We find that some countries like Spain and Portugal will not join this alliance. These countries know what's coming and will work to remain neutral in this conflict so that their lands are not exposed to missiles. Orishnik, the Russian Orishnik missiles. It changed the equation. It made everyone in Europe today think 1,000 times about what's coming. I mean, what will this alliance be like without America? The Europeans have a very serious problem. Even the issue of leadership doesn't exist in Europe. There is no leader in Europe. Who will lead this alliance in Europe? Today, 3 countries are candidates for leadership, but they are not at all in agreement on the issue of leadership. There is Germany, which believes it truly deserves leadership, but the other European countries reject that. They fear that Germany will dominate all the countries of the European Union. Then there is France, which also aspires to leadership, but in reality, it doesn't have the qualities needed for leadership, just like Britain. The European Union is now experiencing a very big struggle for leadership between Germany and France, and between Germany and Poland. This is not to mention military leadership, which is a very essential and important condition. It is impossible to establish a unified command and control system in just a few months. It will take years, and it will require expertise that Europe simply does not have today, because for many decades it has relied on America. From this perspective, the problem in Europe is a multifaceted one. There is a severe shortage of weapons, a severe shortage of soldiers, and it is impossible to impose mandatory conscription. This is not to mention that Europe also does not possess tactical nuclear weapons, and this technology does not exist among Europeans. The next war will be a tactical nuclear war. Putin said it openly. Any major upcoming war will involve nuclear weapons. Russia has a bank of targets that will be exposed to Orishnik missiles with these tactical nuclear warheads. How will Europe handle what's coming? Therefore, when they talk in Europe about establishing a European NATO alliance, honestly, I see a very wide smile on Trump's face. Because Trump, or America, knows these facts very well. They know very well what is coming. They know very well that Europe has no other option but to submit to America. Without America, Europe will collapse and fall apart, and there are those who will seize the opportunity then. And this is without forgetting. There is another, even more important point, which is that the collapse of Europe might lead all these European countries into military conflicts against each other. And there is a historical equation. If Europe fails to defeat the external enemy, they always resort to practicing their old favorite hobby, fighting each other. This equation has been historical throughout history, and we will see it in the coming stage. At that point, we will see small regional blocks within Europe, and that's why no one can predict what this upcoming Great War will be like. And what will the alliances look like in this Great War? Because at the decisive moment, all alliances change. So what's coming is very dangerous for Europe, especially when we talk about these European countries like France, Britain, Germany, Poland, and maybe even Italy as well. These countries face significant danger and will suffer greatly. No one can stand in America's way to prevent it from annexing Greenland, because this issue has become a matter of American national security, that's it. And Canada will also become American. Canada will become American. Those who think that Canada is far from this conflict today and that Trump has backed down from his previous threats to annex Canada are mistaken. The issue of annexing Canada is only a matter of time. There are priorities. Because when America annexes Greenland, it will say that it needs a connection. It will need something to connect it to Greenland. Between Greenland and American territory, there is Canada. So Canada will become American, meaning Trump has a completely different perspective. Trump sees that Russia could become a major partner for America in the Arctic region. A strong partner in the Arctic region. Europe is not present in the Arctic. It's very weak, worn out, and has nothing. Russia has military bases there, it has icebreakers, it has extensive experience in this region, it has ready trade routes, and it has a huge human workforce in this area. America lacks all these things, and America will need them in the coming phase. If America wants to reach that level, it will need many years to reach the level that Russia has achieved in the Arctic region. But time is not on its side, so what will it do? It wants to annex Greenland and annex Canada. America would then have control in this same region. At that point, it would form a strategic alliance with Russia in this area. What is the purpose of this alliance? The purpose of this alliance would be to tighten the noose around China. Preventing China from reaching this region means blocking China's access to this area, which will become the future of the world in the next 20 or 30 years. But despite all this, of course, this remains. This is Trump's goal, this is America's goal. But will this goal actually be achieved? Will Russia really become America's ally instead of China? And what about China? Is it just sleeping? Or does it have cards? Does it have cards it will play in the final moments? In this matter, let us know your answers in the comments below this video, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Peace be upon you, and see you next time.